Hello, 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 and welcome to another fluid art video. This week I'm going to be doing a rainbow nova flower, or a rainbow flower as the video is called. I call this technique the nova flower because the center of the flower is black. As you can see, I'm just drawing the vague shape that I want the centre to look like. It does change a little bit as we go through. As you can see, the curve wasn't coming out quite as I wanted it. It had gone a bit deeper, so I had to go back and do some more. So yeah, nova flowers, the centre is black. It kind of looks like a supernova but coming out with the flower pattern. And then so with this, it's two steps to start off with. You do your base, the centre in black, and then the outer colour, whatever that's going to be. In this case, it's white. And it's a huge well, not a huge canvas really that I'm doing this time. It's 1 metre by 50 centimetre. So yeah, used quite a bit of white paint on that one and mixed it up in a jug. And as I usually do, I spread the paint out with the hairdryer. So I'm going to leave this bit in so you can see what it looks like when you're actually spreading out on such a large canvas. But I'm going to put some music on because you don't really need me whittering on in your ears while this is going on. As this is a long video, I will be speeding stuff up like I'm about to and adding in some music. So with the base done, with the white and black done there, we're just about ready to do the fun and exciting bit, which is laying down the rainbow colours. So here we go. Also, obviously, dancing to music in the background. In this case, it was Steps that was playing, because Steps is cool, even though Steps really aren't that cool, but it's fine. They're copyrighted, otherwise I would have had Steps going on as the musical interlude a few moments ago. So I'm doing the Baker's Rainbow, which is based on the Pride Rainbow flag, the original one. So starting out with pink, that's actually Opera Rose, and then going in to red, that's Carmine Red, I believe. And then the next one is orange. I think that's a cadmium orange from memory. And then that's primary yellow. See, the rainbow's taking shape. Really does look cool. And then the next colour is a cadmium green hue. The paint was a bit thick, so I think at this point I'm adding a little bit of water into it. When you do pour your paints out, no, actually that wasn't cadmium green hue, that was yellow green X4. So as I say, when you mix your paints, make sure you just do a consistency test before you pour them out. Just because sometimes they do thicken between when you've mixed them and you actually use them on the canvas. So always have a small bit of water just to handle your pouring medium to hand. Next one is, oh, this is one of my favourite ones. It is Decoart Turquoise. It's not Decoart Turquoise. I can't remember what the name of the paint was. I'll try and remember to put it in the description. And there we have Brilliant Blue. And it is a brilliant blue colour. And then finally, what purple did I use? I think it was Permanent Violet by Rowney, I believe. I think I mucked that colour name up actually. I'll put the colours in the description. So yeah, that's the rainbow done. It looks amazing and fantastic, and I am very happy doing my happy thumbs up there. Just using the heat gun to go over it, because the paint's having been mixed up, there being air bubbles, you're not wanting to get the little pinpricks coming through as the paint dries. You use the heat gun for that. I'm dyspraxic, very clumsy, therefore having a flaming torch, not an idea, so I use a heat wand, which is an electric tool. It cost about £15 on Amazon, and I'm just using there a silicone spatula to do the petals, just doing the first one on the side there. It's a swipe, is what the technique's called. As the canvas is so big, that bit just got cut off. But you'll see the rest of them as we go through. So just doing that very lightly, just has to rest on the top, and then you pull it through and you use a flick of the wrist to get the little bit at the end, the tip of the petal. And as you can see, you really do get a kind of sunflowery petally effect. Sometimes you don't quite get the edge right, so you have to wiggle it a little bit. But, you know, when in doubt, just wiggle it in a non-rude way. Wasn't quite happy with what I got there, so I went back over, and you can always do that with this technique, with any fluid art really. If you don't like it, go back over. If it doesn't really work, just scrape the canvas and go from the start. You will notice, obviously, there are gaps in between, so I always do it that I get the big flower petals out first, and then I go back through and do smaller ones in between. And you do want to drag the inner colour through. It's how you get some of the really cool effects. So you try and get some black going all the way through. And it's okay if you get the little bits of white in there. The end effect looks amazing. And as you can see, other colours do pop up as you're going through. Usually I do this with only 2 or 3 colours. Having so many is a bit of a challenge, but it just looks amazing. As you can see, that one's a very short petal for that one. So I'm going to come back in and just drag it out a little bit longer. You just basically go to the end and just well, basically, as you saw there, drag it a bit further on. This is the bit where doing this technique is great and amazing, but you do have to swap hands. I am right-handed. I'm now using my left hand at this point, so having to do some trial things in the air just to check that I can get the right angle, and yeah, I fluffed that one up. So once again, elongating that one out. The colours are turning out amazingly. They really are. I just love this one. The other thing would be using your non-dominant hand. You don't have quite as much control, and you do sometimes. Your non-dominant hand is a bit heavier. So on that one, I had gone into the black, the base colour more than I liked, and I do come back and correct this with some other colours later. Yeah, you're going to see on the ones where it's my left hand, I go back and do quite a bit of correcting. And on this one, I'm really not on that bit, just showing you that you wipe the silicone tool in between, so it's clean each time for each new petal, otherwise you get the colours that you previously had on your spatula. That one looks amazing. So you just wipe on some kitchen towel and you're all good. As you can guess, I record over while I'm watching the video back, so occasionally I'll have planned this bit, I'll have done the hand actions to show something. Paul from a month or so later doesn't always remember what that was, so I do have to occasionally ad-lib and even go back and adjust the recording. Okay, so on that one I am counting how many I've done so that there's an element of symmetry, because I wasn't sure if I was doing one final one or 2 final ones there. So this one was just doing the one final one. And with that, you really want to come down a bit harder on the 2 edge ones, because that way it forces the paint over the side, so you actually get the petal on the side as well as on the front of the canvas. As it's a deep edge canvas, it really looks effective. But not really happy with that bit, so I'm just pouring some extra colours in. Don't always have more colour to hand, so that you can go back in and adjust as you go. So with that, if you're just doing one bit, you basically just do small blobs of the colour in the same order that you layered them down, so you get the same sort of effect as you do the swipe again. So you just, as I say, you layer the colours in. If you're anything like me, you occasionally just put the colours down to one side and then you have to find them very quickly to do your last bit. As you're going through and doing these, it's perfectly fine to edit what you've done and go, nope, didn't like that, prefer this, like I have just done. And that actually looks a lot better, a lot more balanced, there's more colour, and it goes over the side a lot better as well. So that one's done, and now it's just coming in to do the in-between ones, which I use the corner of the spatula to do. And these are designed to be much smaller. They're not supposed to go out quite as far as the rest of the trunkier, the first petals that you've done. What I do notice as I'm going through, and it's far too late at this point to do anything, is my white was a little bit thin. So some of the colours that I poured in are actually being eaten away a little bit by the white. Not a lot, but it does create quite a cool kind of ethereal effect at the end. But some of these ones where I'm doing very thin ones, they do get eaten up a little bit. And I have to come back in and do some edits, as you will see as the video progresses. So yeah, just going in, doing some little ones there. I think it adds depth, and it takes away the little bits where you've got the big purple dips in between. Occasionally it does mean that kind of bits merge into one another, and you have to go in and scrape the odd bit off and do the odd bit of editing, but that's fine. It's all about your vision for what you're creating at the end of the day. At the end of the day. Oh, sounding so Essex there. Well, not really sounding Essex, but, you know, using the language from there. I was born in Essex, so I do get to say that. I wasn't born in Essex, I grew up there. I was actually born in North London near at the Whittington Hospital, and lived near the Alexandra Palace, if you know London particularly well. If you don't, it's something for you to go away and Google. And doing the final in-between petal there. And on these ones, the trick really is to jiggle a little bit, so it makes it feel like they're more fluid, being blown around in the wind or something. So now I'm standing back looking at it to see if I like the composition. So I like it. It kind of works right. As you can see, there was a little jump there. So you can see, as you can see here in the circles, these are the bits where the paint had started bleeding. It was specifically the turquoise that it started with. However, in the end result of the painting, even with that actually ruining a good few bits from what my original intention was, it actually creates an amazing effect. The flashing in the background there is me taking pictures on my phone. I do that part way through. Usually I pause the video while I do that. I didn't on this one. Fun fact, this actually isn't the whole recording, as it took so long that I actually lost some of the, well, basically the recording device ran out of battery. You can see the change that happened just there. I used the soap and water solution to force some extra cell reactions. I decided to do that as I could see the edges were going to be fairly blurred. So I thought, actually, on that one, this would be a fairly cool one to have the kind of blurry outlines that you get when you use the soap and water solution to get a different effect. So you leave it for a little while, then you come back in after you've done the spray. You come back in with the heat wand to burst the air bubbles that it's forced to come through. If you don't do that, the bubbles carry on getting larger, and can force larger cells and can really mess around with the overall composition of your piece. So again, standing back, looking at the composition, seeing what I like, what I don't like, and on that one, that little thin wispy one just didn't work, so I'm coming in with some paper towel to take the paint up there and then go forwards, and again doing the same there, basically on the ones that look like they're going to merge into each other as the paint spreads out. I'm going in and getting some of the paint out, and then I will go back in to get a better shape for those petals. And what I do have there are the little spreader bars I keep from most of the canvases. I don't actually use them that often, and for these ones I use a clean fresh one, and if I want to get paint off the edge, I just use that to literally scrape it over the edge, taking the base out with the colour, and then I come back with some more of the base colour, and again we'll reshape the petal so that it looks a bit better. You also come back in with a bit of your paper towel, kitchen roll in the UK, just to take up the last few bits of colour, so you're not pouring white paint onto coloured paint that then won't give you the white background. as you can see, there are a few bits on here where I wasn't getting the definition that I wanted. That was because the white, you know, was a bit thin, as was the turquoise. So I had to come in and be quite harsh and take some bits out. There were bits that I liked, that that I've taken out, but overall, on balance, the end piece looks so much better for doing this. As you go through with getting experience in doing fluid art, you learn when to do this and when not to do it. And I've learned when not to do it by doing it when I really should. Apologies for the little yip there. My dachshund Red Sheeran heard my other half coming down the stairs and decided to greet them. Thankfully, I paused the recording. So yeah, as I'm going in at this point, I'm putting the white back in. I have very little white paint left at this point, so I'm having to be, I'm not really doing it particularly sparingly, but I'm making sure I'm not doing more than I need to, just in case I need it when I'm editing some other bits as I go through. So having put the white in, that will create the barrier between, so that you get the overall shape that you want. I'm now going to, well, off camera I've done some stuff on the edge. I'm now going to be going in just to make sure that the white's coming over the edge. I'm covering my edges while the white settles down so that I can keep an eye on the composition. I'm talking about the composition a lot on this one. Composition is always important on any of the pieces that you do. With this technique, you have to all the while have an eye for how it's going to look at the end. On this one, I like how the two ones via between the middle petal are kind of balancing out. So nothing's really going too far out. They're coming to the right. You're getting the right shape just about. But the edges and the ends do need looking at. And that's what I'm about to be doing on here, but this does get to a bit where I really did stand there for quite a while thinking before sorting the final part of this one out. So yeah, that is pretty much where I got to on this recording. I didn't actually do a dried or wet result recording on my phone for this piece, weirdly. So what I'm doing is going through and showing you the close-up images of the various bits so you can see how cool various bits looked and how you can see it kind of is a bit ethereal where the colours have bled into the thinner white. I can guarantee you if I wanted to do the same effect again, you can hear the tippy tapping of Red Sheeran in the background. I'm recording this just before I'd usually do his dinner, so he's getting a bit impatient with me. But yeah, you can see how the bleeding effect is amazing, but I can guarantee you if I tried to replicate the same thing, wouldn't be able to get the consistency of that white paint. It's just sod's law, it's how it would just work. So yeah, that's it. Please like and subscribe, and also you'll see some other videos. Please watch them as well. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye bye.